Well, hello. Those of you that joined us last week will know that we had huge issues with our internet connection last week. Launched our new Christmas stamps and we had an absolute nightmare. Unfortunately, this week we have had to do a pre-record, but hopefully you are joining me at 2 o'clock on Wednesday the 14th of June at 2 o'clock, which is when we're launching this. So this is a carry-on from last week's launch of the brand new stamps that are available on our website for pre-order now, for dispatch around the 22nd of June. Fingers crossed, maybe slightly before, but who knows. We're in the lap of the gods, as they say. So today we're going to do another card using our fab new release for Christmas 2023. Can you believe it? I've been working on Christmas since March. March, yes, March. So hopefully you will love them. We've been having, well, so far you've all loved them. We've had to double our order with our suppliers. So hopefully that is what you think to them all. Fingers crossed you're going to enjoy playing with them when you finally get them. Anyway, let's get started. Let's pop over to what we're going to be doing. Get that one out. Oh, sorry, you've got my arm. One day I will learn not to put my arm in these videos. So this is what we're using today, but I want to quickly just run through our release for Christmas 2023. So this is our Santa's Sleigh, and that comes with a Merry Christmas and 'Tis the Season on there. Now, the eagle-eyed of you will notice that this has got the same fonts on that we used with our last Sentiments release. It's proved to be so popular, so hopefully you'll love using them with your Christmas cards as well. Carrying on from that, oh, that's a bit close. We have our Christmas greetings, and it says, "It's time, happy, have yourself a merry little Christmas and have a happy Christmas," or "have a Merry Christmas," or what else can we have? Merry, it's Christmas time. So there's lots of different ways. You've also got 2 little holly sprigs here and a little candy cane as well. So there's lots of different combinations you can use with that one. Then we have our holly ribbons. This is one of our $14.99 sets. So you get a little individual set here, which is some tiny little stars. Then we've got some berries. Then we've got this lovely great big holly flourish. Then we have a bow. That way around. Then we've got 3 different holly sprigs. Come in a bit closer for those. And then last but not least, a lovely holly corner with some ribbons coming off. So we will be using this one in our demo today. And we're going to be using the Santa's Sleigh that we've just seen. And then this was the one that we did in last week's video, which is in 2 parts. So you can watch the release and then the 3/4 of the making of this particular card as well. And as I mentioned before, this one is fabulous for popping on the outside of your envelopes as well if you want to carry it all the way through. So that's one big stamp here. Then you've got Happy Christmas, from our house to yours. Dear Santa, I really tried. Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Then you've got the postage marks here. So you've got this one here, which has got 25th of December in the middle. You've got a little Santa's hat, a snowflake, a holly leaf, and then a holly sprig with some berries. That is tiny, that one. Those little pieces there are tiny because they're designed to fit inside those little stamps there. So you can make your own postage stamps as well. So that's that set. So that is our Christmas 2023. So as I mentioned, we're going to be using these 2 in today's card. So we're using our holly ribbons and our Santa's Sleigh for this particular make. Put them to one side. So what do we need for today's card? A few bits and pieces. Nothing that you won't probably already have in your stash. So we have got the Versamark ink for embossing. We have also got VersaFine in Onyx Black. You will need to use your anti-static bag today. I'm doing my very utmost to remember to use it, because when I don't, it all goes very, very wrong on this card. We're also going to be using the gold embossing powder and the crystal clear embossing powder. Now the gold we're using is the one without glitter, but it's entirely up to you what you use. We have then got our sticky glue, which comes in the 2 sizes, and you may need some foam pads for this one as well. But that again is your choice. So it comes in the 2 sizes, 120mm and a 30mm one. Then we have pens. Again, it's a colouring one, this one. So I'm using clean colour pens, and the colours I'm using is mid green, which is 046, light green 041, May green 047, and yellow green 053. The reds I am using are red 020 and deep red 260, and then we need a touch of yellow in there, which is 050. I'm also using a gold pen. Now the one I'm using is a Wink of Stella brush, and it's the gold one. Now any gold pen will work for this. This isn't something we do sell on our website, but it is something I can get, so if you're after it and you're struggling to find it, please ping me an email and we can happily special order that in for you. So that's all the products we need. Now let's get onto the card. So the card will be 8x8, and then the next piece is entirely up to you. Use the colours that work with what you're doing, is all I'm going to say. Hang on, I'm just going to get these bits out of the way so I don't go to use them and I can't. So we have an 8x8 card. Then I have got a piece of red, but again, completely your choice of colours on this. And this piece of red is 7.5" square. Then we have a piece of gold. Now mine is a gold linen effect, but again, completely up to you what you use. If you're doing this in silvers, you don't want a gold linen effect, do you? And that piece is a 7x7 square inch. And then last but not least, this is a piece of watercolour cardstock, and it's 6.5" square. If your pens don't need watercolour cardstock for colouring or for blending, feel free just to use normal cardstock. That's entirely up to you. You will also need some watercolour card to stamp and cut out with. I keep all the offcuts of my watercolour card for what I'm doing. So yes, it's a very random shape, but you'll understand why as we're going along. So let's pop these pieces to one side, preferably not on the top of my wet wipes that I have over that corner there. So we're going to start with this particular piece. Now we're going to take our Santa's sleigh stamp. Get rid of some of these, I've got too much stuff floating around. And our VersaFine Onyx Black. Now if you are watching this and have watched our previous videos, you will understand what I mean. VersaFine ink is not friends with embossing powder, so you do need to work quite quickly with this. So plenty of ink, lots and lots of little light taps all over. And when you think you've got enough on, go back and put a bit more on. But I'm not pressing really hard, just lots of little light taps all over. I always, 99.9% of the time, take my ink to my stamp rather than my stamp to my ink. So I'm just looking at the best, easiest way to stamp this and use the least amount of cards so that I've still got more left, because I'm tight. It's just watercolour cards expensive, isn't it? So I try and save with the bits that I think I'm going to be able to use. So as I say, it's quite a large stamp, so give it the time to soak that ink into the paper. And when you're stamping onto watercolour cardstock, try and find the smoothest one that you can. And then we're going to pop some crystal clear embossing powder over the top. Let me just grab my paper. And you're going to give it a light tap. Don't be tempted to give it a really good flick. Just a light tap will take your excess off. That's where you should have used your anti-static pad. See, I told you I'm a nightmare. Pop the excess back in the pot. Now, just for pure speed here, so that I can heat it all at the same time, I am also going to stamp out that large bow from the holly bows that I showed you. Again, lots and lots of little light taps, because both of these are going to be stamped, watercoloured and cut out. So hence it's fine for them to be on a scruffy piece of cardstock that's never going to get, that I use for this particular reason, for cutting all little bits and pieces out. It's very weird not having people joining me for this particular one. Hopefully we'll be able to be live again next week. We're trying to get a booster sorted out to boost the signal up to here. And then we will be live again. So you've stamped out your large bow and your sleigh, and we're going to heat emboss those. I'm going to heat emboss from underneath, but it's entirely your choice how you do this. And basically you're melting that powder into a solid, and hopefully without burning yourself. Bear with me a minute, I just need to take that shot for a moment because I was burning my hand. The reason I do it from underneath is you do get a much smoother finish, and also puts a barrier between your embossing heat tool and your embossing powder. The reason you want that in is because, as I mentioned earlier, VersaFine and embossing powder are not the best of friends, and it can jump about a little bit, and particularly when you're colouring, you don't really want that to happen. I'll just double check we've got all of that. I'm just trying to get the light to catch it. I think we missed the bottom down there. Yes, we did. We've got everywhere else. So that's those two pieces heat embossed with a crystal clear embossing powder over the top of a VersaFine ink. If I can catch the light on that, it might show you the shine on there. Can't really see, I'm seeing more of my image than any of this reflected on my iPad. So and again, your bow has also got that nice shine to it. There will be fussy cutting on this one, I'm warning you now. Right, so we are going to colour these in with our clean colour pens. As I mentioned before, it is watercolour cardstock because I am doing some blending. But first of all, I am going to go in with the gold pen around every bit that I wanted to be gold. Just because this piece takes a little bit longer to dry than the clean colour pens do. So I'm just going to give it the time to do that. And practice makes perfect, doesn't it? When I was prepping this earlier, making my demo pieces, I smudged the red with the gold and it really wasn't pretty. So I figured do the gold first and hopefully the red won't smudge it. You go very quiet when I'm colouring in. I don't know about anybody else. I know when we're at our workshops, everybody's very quiet when it gets to the colouring in pieces. The whole room, doesn't matter, I can have 30, 40, 50 ladies in there, or gents, and it always goes quiet when we're colouring in. So, as I said, we're just going to go round all of these pieces in gold. I'm just going to try and Speedy Gonzalez this through, so it isn't going to be perfect, but it will give you an idea. It doesn't matter what gold pen you use. If you want to emboss this whole thing in silver, you could, or in gold, you could. It's entirely up to you what you do with this. It's your card. This is me just giving you a couple of ideas. Now next week's next week's video or Facebook Live and YouTube Live, fingers crossed, will be showing you all the fab samples from our amazing little design team. They do an amazing job for me, and we couldn't do these TV shows etc. without them, so we can't thank them enough. So we get to see all the fab hard work that they've put in. It's difficult to colour in, you know, when you are on a camera and your hands deciding it's not going to be very steady today. But you get the idea. Now, if you are watching this, you will have already worked out that we are pre-recorded, but I am actually going to be around watching. So if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to ask away, even though we're not live. And if I do miss your comment, I will come check back through them all later, just to make sure I haven't missed anything. So we are going to go in with our 4 different greens here. I'm just going to try and get them in a slight order for how I hold them, and that hopefully will mean I won't make too much of a mess. But who knows? It could get very messy. So, little tricks. We have already put the shading in there for you. I'm taking my darkest colour all along the edge of that shading. Typical, there's a motorbike going right past my window while I'm talking to you. Hopefully that has not caused too much problem. I'm then going kind of overlapping those 2 colours, and then a little bit more with the 3rd, and then I'm going to go in with the lighter colour, and I'm going to pull those colours out. Hang on, let's bring that down a bit. Oh, wrong way. It doesn't look pretty at this point, but it will. So we're just going to go in, pick those colours up in a circular motion and blend them out to the edge. Try and not go onto your sleigh too much. Obviously you've got that gold on there and you've got to give that time to dry. Now I think as far as a Christmas tree goes, that's a bit bright. But we've got this little section down here still to finish as well. So I'm going to go in, and that's the beauty of this. You can play about with it and add in more colours, tone it down a bit if you want to. There's lots of little tricks to doing that, so it is just a case of playing about till you're happy with the colours. So I'm going to go back in with a little bit more of the darker and take it across the top there. Then I'm going to take the lighter one again, just because the lighter one will blend it out a little bit easier. I still think this one's maybe a little bit light, so again back in with a little bit more of that darker colour and then the light pen over the top. So we've got some shading there. Remember, you've got to go in and blot. Be surprised at how much actually comes off. You don't want any ink sitting, because I promise you, I have coloured this sleigh a lot today. It really isn't fun to have to go back in. Now I'm going to take my lighter green, just because it's in my hands now and I know that I want that to be green, and colour in those sections now. Then I won't pick up the red that I'm going to use afterwards in there. So we're going to do exactly the same thing here. Shall I put my other green on here? I think this one's going to be green as well, so we'll go in with the green on there as well. Light green, I think. Yeah. Oh, missed that one of my polka dots. and a yellow. So wherever I have had I'm going to be putting the red in, I'm going in with the lighter colours on to fill in the gaps first, if that makes sense. Purely because I know how far that red spreads once it starts to spread, and it's not fun. Remember, go in and blot them. So we're going in with the two different reds now. So we've got deep red, and which is 260, and red, which is 202. Again, do exactly the same as we did previously. Where that shading is, go in with your darker colour and just scribble that all the way across. I'm not being particularly delicate about it. You've just got to be a little bit cautious when it comes to going round the edges here. Your embossing powder will help you, but just be aware of it. Don't just get carried away and scribble it all in. So you're basically picking up that darker colour and spreading that around. By doing it in circular motions, you don't tend to get the streaks quite the same. And then I'm going to do the same here. And just going to randomly pop in some darker on that as well, because it will help pull that darker colour along so it's not too bright once you get to that section. As I say, you're going to spend a lot more time colouring this in than I am. I would like to think, but anyway, because this is really not particularly pretty, but I've already got one done. But I just wanted to warn you of the little trials and tribulations I have found throughout my colouring of the sleigh today. As I say, we've coloured him quite a lot today. I missed a little bit of gold. And go back in with a little bit more of the darker colour, I think, in places. Okie doke, I think we're just about done now. Obviously it's not a very big a piece down the bottom there, so I'm just going to quickly go over that. We need to colour in our bows. And again, if I was doing this not on TV, so to speak, or not on video, we would be a lot more cautious about what I was doing here. Okay, so that is our sleigh coloured in. Remember to blot. And now we're going to go round and do our bow. Again, the bow I've just done in reds. Can we come in any closer? It does come in a little bit closer. So that's the sleigh with the shading on the tree. And now we're going to go around and colour this bow. Try and do it so that we keep some of it in shot. So yeah, think about where your light is going to bounce technically on the bow. It could bounce in all sorts of different directions if you wanted it to, but predominantly I'm actually going to spin this round so that I'm not leaning on my sleigh. Ooh, that's gone all out of focus. That's nice. There we go. Sorry about that. I spun it too quick, I think. So we are going to pop some colour in, some darker colour down the bottom here, and then I'm just going to bring it a little bit up here. Just think about where your light's going to be, technically speaking. Not that I'm particularly technical about this, but you know roughly what I mean. Same again. And you'll notice I do tend to do one sort of part at a time, purely because it means that your ink doesn't dry out too quick and it makes it easier to blend it out. I actually really enjoy colouring in this bow. It's sad really, isn't it? A little bit dark up here, I think. And then we've got our little tassels. It's hard to try and keep this in the middle so that you can see what I'm doing and me to be able to see what I'm doing. So I apologise if I keep pulling it out of the camera shot. I keep trying to keep looking up to see how we're doing, but I'm not very good at it. So as I said, if you are watching this and you normally join us for our Facebook lives on a Wednesday afternoon and YouTube lives, I apologise that we're not live and hope to be back live very shortly. So all I'm literally doing is blending those two reds together. I've kind of put the darker colour where, if you were tying a ribbon, where it would sort of hang and maybe be a bit in the shadows of the other ribbon, parts of the ribbon, but hopefully that makes sense to you all. And I'm sure lots of you are beautiful colourists, so I'm sure you'll make a much better job of it than I am. But this is just a real quickie to give you a rough idea on what you're doing. And if you can see, like I can really see where those accent colours have been laid down, just go back over it. It's watercolour cardstock, so it can take a little bit of a bashing. Don't be scared to go back and blend that a little bit if you need to. I am going to go in and blot that quickly because red, as I said, travels a very long way. And we are just about there with our bow. Not much further to go. Oh, completely out of focus. Completely out of focus. I'm sorry, I didn't look up. I have no idea how long we were out of focus for. But we're back. And I'll blot that as well. So they are our two, oh, I've missed the middle part of our bow out. How can you be without the centre of your bow? There we go. So our bow is now, oh, the bow is now complete and the sleigh is complete. So you're going to go and disappear for 5 minutes and cut those pieces out, which hopefully will mean you will end up with something that looks like this. I'm going to pull that back out of focus. Oh, wrong way. There we go. You're going to end up with something that looks like so. So I have gone fairly close around the edge of the sleigh, but you don't have to. Again, your choice, your card, your cutting. I have given this bow a little bit of rise and fall, so to speak. So all I've done is take my scissors and just bend it, or the kebab stick, or whatever you've got to hand, to just give it a little bit of shape to your tails of your ribbon. And I've popped some foam pads on the back. It will all make sense in a moment. And the same with the sleigh. So those pieces, once they're done. Now it might be a good idea that before you cut those out, you do the next piece to this card before you cut them out. It just gives it a little bit more drying time. So we're going to go to that 6.5 inch square, and we're going to take the corner ribbon from that holly ribbons, pop a little bit of black on there, and again we're going to stamp this out. Looked like I'd frozen on there, didn't it? I was just trying to pick something up that was about to fall off the table. And again, we are going to heat emboss this one with crystal clear embossing. Nice little light tap to take your excess off. Now, because I'm aware of this taking a long time, I am going to go in and also put my sentiment in there as well. Now, I've roughly worked out where I want my sentiment to be, so I'm just going to go for it from here. But I'll explain it when we start to put it all together. Because this one is going to be here's one I made earlier later anyway, because I have already got one done. So this is Merry Christmas from Santa's sleigh, and I want to put gold on here. That's why I was a bit careful how I did that. Just means we can heat it all at the same time and it won't take longer than doing it all at once. So we've got our two pieces embossed, one in gold, which is the sentiment, and our holly ribbon as well, corner ribbon. So we're going to heat that again. I'm going to go from underneath. I apologise, I think I took that out of shot, but I couldn't see what I was doing. My glasses are so bad. So we're going to go back in and do a little bit more colouring. This time, again, using those same greens, but I'm taking the light green out of the equation. So we've got three colours. So we've got May green, mid green, and yellow green for this. And we're going to do the holly. So I'm going to go down the centre of the holly with the darker colours. I'm doing a couple at a time here just because we can, dark colour. See, it's because I haven't got them all positioned in my fingers like I'm so used to doing that. And then a little bit of the May green. And then I'm going to take the lighter colour and just go in and blend those through. Again, it doesn't have to look beautiful. Spend a little bit more time than I am. One day I'll learn how to record this and speed it up, and then you don't have to watch me colouring everything in. But I suppose it gives you real time on how quick you can do these cards. When you think about it, all you've got to do now is cut those shapes out and cut your cardstock. So I'm cheating a little bit. I'm doing 3 at once, which is not always as successful as doing 1 petal or 1 leaf at a time. But this is for purely for speed now. And then you're going to go and do your red ribbon exactly, and your berries exactly how you saw me do it previously. And this is what you will hopefully end up with. Okay. You could, if you wanted to, pop in some red gems instead of colouring in your berries if you would prefer. Again, that's completely your choice. So that is all your colouring. Now we're just putting this together. I told you it's not really a particularly long card to do. Obviously cutting out will take you a little bit of time, but that is the name of the game. So I'm just going to layer this up. This is where I haven't had my glue used. Oh, look at that. Look, I was using that earlier and it's decided to be my friend. Pop the cardstock on there. This is quite a thick, heavyweight cardstock, so be wary of that when you're thinking about your cards. I'm not putting this in the post, but if you wanted to put it in the post, obviously the more card layers you put on there, the heavier the card's going to get. And then we're going to stick this piece down as well. So get this out of the way. I'm trying to do it so that you can see me do it as well, and it's hard to keep concentrating on what I'm doing and remembering I've got to show you what I'm doing as well. I keep forgetting. Okie doke. Now I want to put my sleigh on here, and I'm going to hang it off the ribbon so it's like a little ornament. So I think we're going to go with ribbon down first. So I'm going to take all the backing papers off my little piece of foam pads. And then to give me a little bit of wiggle room, I'm going to pop some glue over the top of those foam pads. Position this roughly where I think it's going to be, and then take my bow and position that and press that down. Now obviously the bow is 3D'd. The tails of the ribbon I haven't stuck down at all, and I'm not going to. I'm going to leave those free to roam as they wish. And I'm going to do exactly the same to the back of my sleigh as with the foam pads as I did just do with that bow, so that we've got some wiggle room when we position it. Feels a little bit like overkill, I'm sure, but I would rather we had the room to do it how we wanted it. And then press that down. The idea was that that looked like it was a little Christmas tree ornament. So that is the front of our card finished. Now what do I always say? Don't forget to go into the middle. What sentiment are we going to put in here? I think it's just going to be a Merry Christmas inside as well. And I will emboss that with gold as well. I mean, feel free to take sentiments. Oh, I don't know if I missed the middle of that one. I may well have done because I was being in a hurry and not pressing down on it properly. Because I'm aware that we're at 40 minutes already. Now this is a really nice card to make. I would suggest, because it's Christmas cards and we do bulk when we're doing Christmas cards. Oh, I did this a bit of it, but oh well. There's nothing I can do about it now. Because we do bulk, I would stamp out maybe however many sleighs you want. Sit one evening and colour those all in. Then the following evening do all your bows, and then the following evening do all your corners. And before you know it, you're ready to be putting your card together. That's how I personally would make my Christmas card, or how I do make my Christmas cards. As I said, I did miss a little bit of my Merry Christmas. I'm going to just do this really quickly from the top. Which goes against the grain, but I just wanted to do this quick rather than spend ages on the middle. And as you well know, I like to carry that theme all the way through. So I will pop a little sprig of holly inside. Now be aware the holly that you put on the inside, you are going to struggle to blend. So don't make it too technical. I'm going to break all the rules, look. Don't do as I do, do as I... Don't say it, do as I do as I say. Isn't that the saying? Oh, I wanted that in black, but now if I do it in gold, that'll do, then I won't have to colour it in. Oh well. It's been a long day, ladies and gents. It's been a long day. Actually, that's quite a nice little... I'll show you in a minute. I'll just clear this mess away and I'll show you what we've done. And that means I don't actually have to colour it in, which is quite a good idea, really. Because it won't be able to blend it anyway. There you go. So it just brings some holly into the ceiling. I just think, as you all know, I think it just finishes the cards off nicely. So that is our Santa's Sleigh Christmas card complete. Hope you all like the card. I know you're liking the stamp because of how many you're buying. As I said, we are due to get that delivery in for the 22nd. So they are available to pre-order over on our website. Sorry, I've got ink on my fingers that I need to get off. So you can go to our website, pre-order for dispatch on the 23rd-ish, sorry, 22nd-ish of this month. And hopefully they will be greatly received. Right, so let me just show you what we've used again quickly. We'll run through that and then that's it. I think we're nearly there. So let me zoom us out. If I'm trying to get everything organised so that we've got everything to hand. So zoom out, wrong way, and take this out of the way. So as I said, everything is available over on our website. This is our website's address. So we have used today the Santa's Sleigh, and it also says "'Tis the season" and "Merry Christmas." And we have used the holly ribbons. We've used this lovely big bow here, comes along here, and the corner holly and bow there as well. But you get this lovely great big flourish. You get 4 little stars here, you get the berries and the 3 different sprigs of holly as well. We also have released, so this is all from our brand new release. We also have the Christmas letter, which says, Happy Christmas from our house to yours. Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Dear Santa, I really tried. Also has the postmark on here, December the 25th. 2 little postage stamps and some bits and pieces that fit inside those postage stamps as well. And then last but not least, we have Christmas greetings, which says, it's time happy. Have yourself a merry little Christmas and have a Merry Christmas or Happy Christmas. And then you've got 2 little sprigs of holly and a candy cane on there as well. So to complete this card, we have used holly ribbons and Santa's sleigh. We've also used the VersaFine Onyx Black and Versamark Embossing ink. Anti-static bag. Remember to use that before you emboss anything that you're going to be colouring. Do as I say, not as I do. I completely forgot all the way through this video. We used a gold pen. I have used the Wink of Stella in gold, but whatever gold pen you already have is fine as well. We have used clean Kuretake Clean Colour Real Brush pens in 050 yellow, 041 in light green, 053 in yellow green, 020 in red, 046 in mid green, 260 in deep red, and 047 in May green. Sorry, May green. We have also used crystal clear embossing powder and gold embossing powder. I used the plain gold. I didn't use our sparkly gold, but we do also have Golden Glamour, which is got glitter in it. And then obviously our sticky glue that comes in the 2 sizes, the 120ml or the 30ml, to complete this lovely card. So I think that's everything. Thank you all for joining and watching the video. As I said, this is a pre-record. We will be back live as soon as we can. In the meantime, I will be around answering questions if any of you have got questions as you go, so please feel free to ask away. What else do we need to tell you about? This weekend we are at Stamp Magic on the 18th of June at the Doncaster Dome. It's a lovely show. Paula has been running this show for years and years and years, and it's always really well attended, so hope to see lots of you there. There's lots of exhibitors as well, so although she hasn't published the full list, but everybody I speak to is attending it, so hope we'll see lots of you there. So that's open from 10 till 4 on the 18th of June. We have our TV show on the 23rd of June at 4 p.m. with our Christmas launch. And then the following weekend, no, that's the Friday, and then not that weekend, the weekend after, we are at the Stamporama show in Newbury on the 2nd of July, again 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. So I think that's everything. I will leave you with a clip of a picture of the card we have just made. Thank you again, as I say, for joining us, and we will see you all again soon. Take care. Have a lovely week. Bye.